Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, Bootlicker, shills, desolate, service, peasants, vassals. I'm a useful idiot, and today I'd like to talk about Paul Ryan. Of course, Paul Ryan is already old news. He's already turning out to be a liability for Mitt Romney and not a plus. And in spite of his reputation in certain circles, he's just another opportunist scumbag in Washington, D.C., another career politician. And I won't really have that much nice to say about him. Mostly, I just want to run down his pedigree, because his pedigree speaks for himself that he's nothing special at all. In spite of the fact that he started out as class president and prom king, and his rise to power as an alpha male opportunist was well on its way, even in high school. And then you look down his list of achievements. So he has two successful pieces of legislation. One was to rename a post office, and the other one was to lower the excise tax on arrow shafts, which of course is great news for Paul Ryan because he's an avid archer. And of course, his first accomplishment after becoming a congressman in 1998 at the tender age of 28, by 1999 he voted to repeal the Glass-Steagall Act, which arguably helped cause the financial meltdown of 2008 because it eliminated the separation between a holding bank and a speculative bank, investment bank. And so anyway, he was all for the Bush tax cuts, first huge tax cuts in wartime in U.S. history. He was for the Medicare prescription plan, the largest expansion of socialized medicine in U.S. history after Social Security. And he was all for the TARP, the bank bailouts. He was all for the auto industry bailouts. He voted for the Obama stimulus plan. He voted for the Patriot Act in 2006 and 2011. He voted for the National Defense Authorization Act, the notorious piece of legislation. And he voted for the Iraq War in 2002. In fact, he's never missed an opportunity to raise government spending. And I got news for all you Tea Partiers and GOP and Paul Ryan fans and enemies of big government. The idea that you can have a move towards a small government and keep record military spending just doesn't work. I've got some real bad news for you, because government spending or military spending is actually part of government spending. I know that's hard to hear, but it is true. So, and then of course, Paul Ryan was all for the privatization of Social Security, and then ending up having citizens put their money in the stock market. And of course, Bush was all for that for a while, and we can see how that would have played out. Not very well. So, and then of course, Paul Ryan is notorious for his supposedly vicious budget cuts and fiscal responsibility. And I look at his budget, and it looks like all smoke and mirrors and a lot of drama that says nothing, because it would only balance the budget after 28 years. Unfortunately, we don't have 28 weeks or 28 months, let alone 28 years. And for the most part, it's not even budget cuts. It's freezing. So he just promises not to raise spending any higher than it is right now. So that's not exactly tackling all our difficult fiscal issues. And then, of course, more recently, he was found to be involved in insider trading on September 18th, 2008, when Hank Paulson pulled a bunch of people into an office and told them about the impending financial meltdown. Of course, Paul Ryan moves to dump all his Wachovia and Citigroup and other bank stocks, all the banks that were going to be under pressure and fail, and put all his money into Goldman Sachs, which of course he knew they were going to come out smelling like roses because Hank Paulson told him so. So that afternoon, rather than worrying about what was going to happen in America and American citizens, he made sure his stock portfolio was in good shape. So we have an inside trader, and then, but that just goes along with being a hypocrite, because as it turns out, he also publicly decried the Obama stimulus as wasteful spending spree, and that he, quote, never asked for any stimulus, unquote, and yet his requests were put in for $25 million in Obama stimulus money for local transportation and alternative energy. So no surprise. Paul Ryan, a bootlicker. Paul Ryan, an opportunist. Paul Ryan, a career politician. Paul Ryan, an inside trader. Paul Ryan, a hypocrite. Paul Ryan, a liar. So he definitely belongs in the American political system, and he has a very comfortable place amongst his peers in Congress. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.